Welcome back to Turnabout Recovery. There's our man. Why did you lie about what you saw? I didn't mean to leave my post. I really didn't. It was around 1:45 in the afternoon. 15 minutes before Victor showed up. I was keeping watch over the records room like normal. Then it happened. I was starving, man! Absolutely freaking starving! So, I left my post to go get some lunch. That's it. That's what you were hiding this whole time? You left the crime scene because you were hungry? Hey! It wasn't a crime scene when I left it. I left my desk before the victim showed up. When I came back, the defendant was on her way into the evidence room. Which is why you didn't see the victim before he died. I don't get it. Why did you lie about all this? Well, I kinda got taken in for questioning before I had a chance to say anything. Nobody knew I left, so they all thought I was watching the whole time. Would have been bad news for me if the chief knew I was slacking off when a murder took place. The defendant and the victim were shown to be the only ones to enter the room at the time. I thought it would have been okay if I stretched the truth a little. I was expecting some lawyer to get up all up my ass. It's sort of what I do. Getting all up in asses, so to speak. Well, this was certainly unexpected. Witness, see to it that you don't tell this court any more lies. Right, my bad. Your Honor, I ask that the witness be made to testify again. I'd hear the whole truth one more time. As much as I would like to put this entire testimony behind us, I suppose that we should listen to what the witness has to say. The true story. Any objections, Mr. Payne? Yes, I mean, no, Your Honor. It looks like this is all getting to be a bit much for Payne. I don't really blame him, to be honest. Very well. Witness, please testify as to what you really saw that day. Alright. We've gotten through that minor kerfuffle. Who I really saw. Detective Fuzz was the first person to pass by my desk. Went inside the evidence room at 1:30 p.m. After that, no one else passed by until I left my desk at 1:45. The victim must have entered the evidence room while I was gone. When I came back, I saw the defendant walk past at around 2:10 p.m. A few moments later, I heard a scream. I ran inside to find the victim's body and the defendant. This testimony is almost identical to the one we just heard. Of course it is. Regardless of whether the witness saw the victim or not. Only the defendant could have committed the murder. Objection! That is yet to be decided, Prosecutor Payne. Yeah, there's a very important question here that I have a feeling we're going to be asking. Which could turn this case right around in a hurry. I'd like to begin my cross-examination now. Of course. I didn't go through all that work to fall down here. There can't be something hidden in that testimony. Namely, did you see Detective Fuzz leaving? Alright, here we go. Detective Fuzz had already left by the time of the murder, correct? That's right. And did you see him leave? That's the question I feel like we should be asking. I guess that means he did, but darn. So saying that nobody went in or out of the records room between 1:30 and 1:45. You can repeat everything I say, or can I continue with my testimony? Someone's a little touchy. Okay, please go ahead. Fair enough. So you were away between 1:45 and around 2:10 in the afternoon, right? Exactly. If you look at the record sheet, victim entered the room at 2 o'clock. That's why I missed him. Fair? Let me get this straight. You only saw 2 people pass by your desk. Detective Fuzz and the defendant. saw each other once, when they were entering the evidence room. However, you didn't see the victim at all because you weren't at your desk when he passed by. That pretty much sums it up. No problems with that, are there? Think Phoenix. Be an important point. Should Guard have seen anyone else pass by his desk while he was still there? Ah. Oh, maybe this is the point where we can ask. Yes. Actually, there's quite a big problem. Your testimony is to be believed. Contradicts what we've already heard. This has gotta be Fuzz, right?
Take that!
Yeah, it is Fuzz. This is it. This is what I've been looking for. The truth behind this case. There's no holding back now. Hell yeah. Mr. Guard, are you entirely sure that your testimony is the truth? Man, how many times do you want me to say it? I didn't see anyone else pass by my desk that day. Well, if that's the case, then it contradicts a testimony we've already heard. Namely, the testimony of Detective Charles Fuzz. What are you talking about? Detective Fuzz entered the records room at 1:30 p.m. I know this because his card data is recorded in the security record. Weren't you listening? Witness clearly stated that he saw the detective on his way into the records room. You're the one that needs to shut up and listen, Mr. Hey, hell yeah. Witness did indeed testify to seeing the detective on his way into the records room. However, he did not testify to seeing Fuzz leaving the room. When the detective left. That's what this is about? Isn't it obvious? The detective made his way out of the room after I had left my desk. That's why I didn't claim to see him in my second testimony. It's understandable that you would come to that conclusion. It's only because you weren't around to hear the detective's testimony. On the stand, he told the court, I had some evidence for one of my cases that I need to store in the records room. Made my way out of there at about 1:35 p.m. That's impossible! I didn't see Fuzz again until after I had already discovered the crime scene. That's precisely my point. If you didn't see him leave, it would mean that Detective Fuzz lied in his testimony. The detective lied? How would he do something like that? There's no turning back now. As we know, the security record only tracks people entering the room, but not leaving it. The witness didn't see Detective Fuzz leave the records room. That would mean he couldn't have left at any time. Mr. Wright, what are you suggesting? Your Honor, the defense believes that Detective Fuzz left the records room. Okay, before Guard left, while Guard was gone. Just gonna drop a save here. Again, this choice is gonna come down to the semantics of which one means he did the murder. While Guard was gone, I feel like that could be argued off as, that's what I just said, man. So it's gotta be after Guard returned. Fuzz may have left the records room after Mr. Guard had returned to his desk. Okay, nope, that's wrong. Don't be daft! This witness would have seen the detective leaving. Mr. Guard didn't leave his desk again until after the victim had already been killed. Oh, no, you've got to be joking. Wait. You're not saying... I am. The time of the murder. Detective Fuzz was inside the records room. Okay. Third party. The one that killed the victim and assaulted Emma Skye. What? The legendary triple scream. Order! Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that? It's utter madness! Let's not forget that this witness entered the records room immediately after the defendant. If Fuzz was there, he would have said something, didn't you think? Right. Never saw anyone else inside the records room. That's easily explained. Detective Fuzz could have hidden at the scene. take a look at the floor plan. Entirely possible for the detective to hide here. I'm gonna guess somewhere in the gap. Back of the room? Yep, back of the room. Discovering the scene, the witness immediately focused on the victim's body. He then left to look for help. Assuming the witness didn't search the room further than the victim's body. There he is. The detective could have been hiding behind this shelf. What? Oh yeah, here we go. I can't believe it. That detective had us all fooled. Didn't have me fooled, sucker. Just been trying to frame Emma this whole time. That's why there were so many mistakes in his original testimony. He was lying to make her look like she was guilty. The detective must have been waiting for Timothy to enter the evidence room. He stabbed the victim and later knocked out Emma when she entered the records room. He hid at the back of the room when the witness came to investigate. And later caught up with him so he could discover the body. You gotta be kidding! Your Honor, the defense would like to call Detective Fuzz back to the stand. Yes, I suppose we have no choice. Mr. Payne? Right away, Your Honor. In the meantime, I will call for a 15-minute recess. Showtime. Now we're in the endgame. Oh, wait, that was quick. No break. Where's Detective? Court will now reconvene for the trial of Emma Skye. I see the witnesses are ready to enter the courtroom. Mr. Wright, go right ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness. Ah, yeah. Start the music. Here we go. Here we go again. I'm Charles Fuzz, ace detective and professional heartbreaker. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting to be back here so soon. You just couldn't get enough of the fuzz, could you? Witness, do you know why you've been called here? Why else? You want to hear more about the investigation, right? Sorry to say that we're no closer to finding that missing file. The higher-ups are getting their collective panties in a twist. We're in the middle of finding out exactly which file was taken. It's tough work squeezing information out of those lot, so you'll have to be patient for now. No new information on that file, huh? Detective, I'm afraid that's not why we asked you to come here. The truth is that you have been indicted for the murder of Victor Timothy. Wait. What? You think that I did it? What the hell are you on? You entered the records room before the murder. You claimed to have left the crime scene at 1:35. However, Mr. Guard, who was watching the door at the time, didn't see you at all. You lied to this court. You were still at the crime scene at the time of the murder. Slow down, buddy. Let's think about this for a second. Wouldn't Guard have mentioned something like that before now? It seems to me that he would have told the investigators straight away. Mr. Guard left his desk for about 20 minutes at the time of the murder. He assumed that you had left during that time, which is why he didn't mention it. Oh? How convenient. This is the guy whose testimony you're used to accuse me. Some lazy guard that can't stand to stay at his desk without bunking off. Maybe he was gone longer than he thought he was. Who's to say they didn't leave before 1:35? Have you got any actual evidence to suggest that they hadn't already left? I hate to admit, but he's got a point. Yeah? Mr. Guard wasn't the most reliable witness after all. So, you still claim that you left the records there. I can't talk all of a sudden. So, you still claim that you left the records room at 1:35. No doubt about it. But if you still need convincing, I'm happy to oblige. I ain't no murderer. Like I said, I left the records room at 1:35. Come to think of it, I don't remember seeing guard at the time. The murder happened at 2:10. I was nowhere near the crime scene at that time. Not only that, there's a major hole in your theory. According to you, I was the one that clonked the defendant on the head. As we all know, this torch was used to hit her. You can see that the glass broke when the defendant was hit with the head of the torch. Take a look at whose fingerprints are on them. They're certainly not mine. They belong to the victim. He's the one that hit her. But according to you, he was already dead when the defendant entered the room. Oh, and let's not forget that the lovely lady's prints are also on the murder weapon. She's the one you want. I've got nothing to do with it. Oh, that's a long testimony. Oh boy. There are indeed a lot of questions left to be answered. I'm not surprised. That's the way when you make up these ridiculous, half-baked theories. Let me show you just how ridiculous my theory is. Very. That sounded better in my head. Yeah, agreed. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Let's do this. Alright. Let's drop a save in here. And get to work. According to Mr. Guard, that isn't true. I don't believe everything that guy says. So I'm sure you've realized he's not the most reliable guy around. Can't exactly argue with that. Do you have an alibi for the time of the murder? I hate to say it, but no. I was just jamming out at my desk all by myself. I know how things look. Just hear me out. A hole? What are you talking about? My theories are foolproof. Calm down, I'm getting to that. That's right. After all, Mitch might have already been dead for around 10 minutes by the time Anna entered the room. That means you're the only one that could have hit her. Slow down, buddy. Let me finish. Alright, this is the point we're going to start to question. As recall, you have no actual proof that the torch was used as a weapon. There may not be any direct proof, but there weren't any other blunt weapons in the room. Plus, there's one more reason to believe that the torch was used to hit the defendant. Could the glass have been broken in any other way? I'm no expert, but it's not likely. It should take a fair whack of force to shatter glass like that. The defendant was hit by it is definitely the most plausible theory. For argument's I raise, I can't seem to discredit the idea that the torch was used as a weapon. The torch was used, then why aren't Fuzz's prints on it? I guess you could have wiped them, but that doesn't explain why the victim's prints are on there. Actually, the victim should have already been dead by the time Emma entered the room. If only I could find some kind of fault with this testimony. I might find the answers that I'm looking for. Okay, so now we're getting into the points we can question. That's not hard to explain. You could have easily wiped away your fingerprints. Ha! If that were proof that I'm a killer, I could just as easily indict you for murder. How about it, Mr. Wright? Did you kill poor old Victor? Huh? What do you even... Objection! That testimony clearly contradicts the evidence. Take him away, Your Honor. Hey, cut it out! Ha! You get the picture. Besides, even if I did hit the defendant, how did the victim's prints end up on the torch? A dead man can't hold a torch. Much less use one as a weapon. But that's pure speculation. broken torch in the victim's hand and an unconscious defendant with a lump on her head. Sounds like some mighty fine proof to me. How about you, Your Honor? Yes, mighty fine proof indeed. Yes? Well... Did I say that? I don't seem to remember. You certainly did say that. You said it. You did say it. Thanks, Apollo. Let's move on. That's quite the testimony. Fuzz doesn't mess around. He's definitely smarter than he looks. And if we're led up now, come too far. Something hidden in one of these statements. Okay. Could the glass have broken any other way? Not likely. I'm not an expert, but it's not likely. It should take a fair whack of force to shatter the glass like that. That the defendant was hit by it was definitely the most plausible theory. Whatever arguments I raise, I can't seem to discredit the idea that the torch was used as a weapon. If the torch was used, then why aren't Fuzz's prints on it? I guess you could have wiped them. It doesn't explain why the victim's prints are on there. Especially as the victim should have already been dead by the time Emma entered the records room. It's kind of this testimony. Well. Why do you feel bad about saying that? You're right. Okay, so it seems like we got different... different information when we pressed this the second time. I try your fingerprints. Objection? The testimony clearly just contradicts the evidence. Hey, cut it out. Let's press this again. You know, actual proof the torch used a weapon. See, I feel like the proof is... I feel like the proof we need to get to is that the way these prints are situated on this flashlight, the way he'd have been holding he would have been holding that flashlight, the glass part, the head would have been below, so... I wonder if we just present this at this statement and we figure out the rest. It feels like the point we're trying to get to, but we'll see. Let's drop a save. And let's try it.
Objection!
Yep, that did it. That's enough. There's a major fault with this testimony. Huh. What seems to be the problem, Mr. Wright? Something's been bothering me about this torch. I'll assume that the glass broke when the defendant was hit by the head of the torch. However, take a look at the fingerprints left on the torch handle. They clearly contradict that claim. Huh? What contradiction? What are you talking about? The problem with these fingerprints is... location or orientation? Take a look at the orientation of the victim's fingerprints. They're facing towards the end of the torch handle. If the victim held the torch in this position, the lamp would be facing towards him. If he had held the torch that way around, then it would have been impossible for him to hit the defendant with the torch head. Oh, what? The glass broke when the victim was hit. However, if Emma was hit with the other end of the torch, there's no way that it would smash like it did. In other words, these prints contradict what we know about the case. What does that mean, Mr. Wright? Clearly, we made a wrong assumption regarding the torch that was thought to have been used as a weapon. You're not about to claim that the torch wasn't the weapon used to hit the defendant, are you? I mean, how do you explain the broken glass? It would have taken some pretty mean force to shatter that torch lamp. The torch really is the weapon used to hit Emma, and the contradiction must lie elsewhere. Namely, the fingerprints themselves. Huh? I'm sure that the owner of these fingerprints, the victim, could not have been the one that hit Emma with the torch. Well, there's only one other possibility. The victim was wearing gloves, the fingerprints are fake, the defendant knocked herself out. Emma clearly did not knock herself out. The victim couldn't have used the torch to hit Emma. However, the prints left on the torch suggest otherwise. There's only one possible answer. These prints were planted on the torch by the real killer. They were used to mislead us. What? Meaning Fuzz actually broke the lamp over Emma's head and then just sort of forced it into his hand real quick. The victim was dead and the defendant had been knocked out by the killer. In order to eliminate the idea of a third person at the scene, the killer wiped their own prints off the torch. They then used the victim's body to plant his prints on the torch, thus making it appear that the defendant was knocked out by a counterattack. Similarly, they must have planted Emma's fingerprints on the murder weapon. And the only person capable of tampering with the evidence in this way was the person hiding in the records room. You, Detective Charlie Fuzz. You did it, didn't you? Oh boy. So that's it. I'm a murderer because the victim left some weird fingerprints. What kind of proof is that? Who's to say that the victim didn't hit that girl with the handle of the torch? Wouldn't that be a way more logical conclusion? But you're the one that claimed the defendant was hit with the head of the torch. You said yourself that the glass must have been broken from the force of the impact. Well, maybe the glass broke some other way. Who's to say it didn't smash when the victim dropped it after he was stabbed? Give me a break. You're the one that claimed that the glass was broken from the force of the torch hitting the defendant. Yeah. Well, I guess I made a mistake. So sorry about that. Ugh. Allow me to give my opinion on this matter. Whilst the inconsistency of the fingerprints on the torch is rather suspicious, it's hardly proof of the witness's guilt. No! Tough luck, buddy. However, the problems with the detective's testimony, as well as his maniacal laughter, concerned me. It's my opinion that further testimony is required. Oh? Testimony? Sure thing. I'm totally innocent. I'll say it as many times as you like. Are we gonna get that Mirror Bee testimony theme? I really hope we do. What's the point? There's absolutely no link between this murder and I. I have no connection to the victim in this case, nor to the defendant. I see Timothy around the precinct, but I've never spoken to him before. But tell me, what possible reason could I have to murder him? The victim and defendant were alone in that room. That's the simple truth of this case. Alright, now so we're talking motive, are we? I'll admit, I haven't thought about Fuzz's reasons for killing the victim. I'll have to think of something if I want to keep him on the stand. Very well. Your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. What's the point? Alright, let's do this. Considering how hard you're trying to pin this crime on the defendant, I find that hard to believe. Huh. I'm not trying to pin this on anyone. You're the one that's trying to indict me for murder. This case is crystal clear. The defendant is clearly the killer. Connections? However, Miss Sky also lacks a clear motive. That may be true, but consider this. Unlike myself, the defendant was not a complete stranger to the victim. They worked together. It would make much more sense for her to plan the murder than for me to do it. Well, I can't argue with that, but there must be another reason. Why would Fuzz kill a man he's never spoken to? And why would he do it in a police precinct of all places? That is a very good question. And it's gonna come down to this missing file, isn't it? There's someone else that can testify to that. The prosecution found no link between the witness and the victim in our investigation. We are fairly certain that the two of them have not spoken before. At least, not when they were in the workplace. That's what I was afraid of. It is gonna come down to that file. The murder didn't necessarily have to be premeditated. It could just have easily been a spur-of-the-moment decision. Well, spur-of-the-moment waiting a half hour for him to arrive, I find that unlikely. Interesting theory. I presume you have some evidence then. Well, I'm not... That's what I thought. Come back to me when you got some real proof. Then we'll talk. Shit. I've already proven that it was possible for you to be in that room at the time of the murder. You were not seen leaving the records room at the time you claimed. Mr. Garb was at his desk at this time. He would have seen you pass by. Let me stop you right there. So far, the only evidence you have against me is the testimony of one very unreliable witness. Even you must realize how flimsy your case against me is. Isn't it way more reasonable to assume it was this girl all along? No, it isn't. Well, do you think of any reason why Fuzz would kill the victim? I don't know. I suppose we only need to show that there's a possibility that he had a murder motive. This case is pretty weird if you ask me. Why would someone commit murder in the middle of the precinct in the first place? It's the last place I'd think to do something illegal. For sure. There's just some kind of reason. Maybe that reason is the key to the murder's motive. This feels like the place to say you wanted this file.
Objection!
I don't really have any proof to back me up here. This is the only solution that I could come up with. Here's hoping that it'll be enough. Hey, don't just yell like that and then not say anything. What's the big idea? Detective, don't you find it odd that the culprit decided to commit murder at a police station? Huh? Well, I guess it's a little strange. It was extremely risky for the killer to carry out their crime the way they did. Which suggests to me that this murder was not premeditated. The murderer killed the victim not because they wanted to, but instead because they needed to. Oh, and why was that? Perhaps the victim caught the killer doing something they weren't supposed to. Something like taking this missing file from the records room. That file? It's no coincidence that this file went missing at the time of the murder. And you not mentioning its disappearance in your testimony was no simple mistake. You were after that file from the very beginning, when Timothy walked in and found you trying to steal it. That's when you stabbed him with this knife that was being kept as evidence. After committing the murder, you knew it was only a matter of time before you were found out. So you chose to wait in the records room until somebody else showed up. The defendant. Yeah, the estimated time of death does cover that whole range. You knocked her out and altered the scene to make her look like the true culprit. Detective Fuzz, it was you all along. Hmm? Yeah? That's enough. All eyes on me. I've had just about enough of these accusations. You're going on, and it's starting to piss me off. Show me the proof. Show me the evidence. If you're so sure I did it, then go ahead and prove it. We've been picking at minor details this whole trial, then manipulating the facts to make them look important. No more. If you're gonna accuse me of murder, show me some real proof. This is it. He's finally starting to slip. Y'all gonna listen to me one more time. When you can't prove I did it, I demand that you let me go. Are we clear, Your Honor? Yes, of course. Way to stand up for yourself, Your Honor. It's like this is the final cross-examination. Are you up for it? You bet I am. Let's see what Fuzz has to say for himself. Looks like we're all in agreement. Okay, let's do this. Start the music. Yes! Yes! Yes, we got the music. We're getting the music. Fuzz's final stand. Oh, wow! Your case against me is lacking evidence in a major way, buddy. There's absolutely no proof that I planted the defendant's fingerprints on the knife. Or that I planted the victims on that torch. That guard's mistaken. I left the records room at 1:35. As for that file, it's pretty clear that you're grasping. What I want with some old murder case file. It's a pretty flimsy motive if you ask me. The damn thing could have been stolen weeks ago for all we know. That's all. I'm not the murderer. That girl is. Simple enough. I think you're, I think your 8-track is, on fast forward. Well then, your cross-examination, please. You were still right. What in the hell was that? Earplugs. Must find earplugs. Are we going to get it for the cross-examination, or are we going to just get the normal? Oh, there we go. Really? I guess from where I'm standing, you're looking awfully guilty right now. Pfft, screw you, buddy. Now listen to what I have to say. However, it was entirely possible for you to do so. Judging from the way the victim's prints are positioned on this torch. That you tampered with the evidence is not out of the question. That's but speculation. Help me out here, prosecutor. Huh? Oh, right, yes, speculation. Indeed, yes, I'm still in this trial. Mr. Payne, you're looking rather pale. Is everything all right? Oh. Poor old geezer looks like he's about to keel over. Time to retire. The victim's fingerprints clearly don't match up to the way the torch was held. Details. Who cares what way the victim's prints were positioned? That glass could have been broken any number of ways. I'm still waiting for you to show me some solid, undeniable proof. You do have some, right? Oh, I see. My bad. I'll just carry on with my testimony, shall I? Can you prove that claim? I guess not, but it's my word against God's. How much can you really trust his testimony? He's not exactly the most reliable individual. It's got a point. As for that file, it's pretty clear that you're grasping. What's that supposed to mean? Well... Old murder case file. Do you have any connection to the case files seen in this crime photo? Ha! I'm not even allowed to touch the stupid things. Besides... that damn thing could have been stolen weeks ago, for all we know. Would someone have noticed if the file was missing? Maybe not. Nobody touched them since they got stored away. How do you notice something's missing if it doesn't even get used? I guess that's a fair point. That's all, I'm not the murderer. That girl is. You seem awfully keen to pin this whole thing on Emma. There's an awfully good reason for that, buddy. But because she's a murderer. You know, like a criminal. And I'm all about arresting criminals, you feel me? I'm so looking forward to shutting you up, Charles. It's our last chance to prove that Fuzz is the killer. We better make it count. One last piece of decisive evidence. Do I even have such a thing? Fuzz is smarter than he looks, but it doesn't seem like he's starting to slip. One more mistake. One more contradiction. That's all I need. If this is the problem we have, it's going to come down to an old bit of information that I don't clearly remember from the first video when we first learned about the file. I'm going to try it and see what happens. Yeah, how did you know what's in the file? Detective Fuzz. You are, without doubt, the true culprit. Oh, really? What makes you so certain? Sure about that. Your testimony, you said, what I want was some old murder case file. We don't know what we don't know what those old case files are. Yeah, I guess I did. What's your point? My point is this. The file is highly restricted and only available to a few higher-ranked detectives. Furthermore, the file that went missing has yet to be identified. Ooh, okay, yes. It had to be one thing, Detective. How did you know that the stolen file was evidence from a murder case? What? Detective, explain yourself immediately. There's only one way you could know about the contents of that file. You're the one that stole it. The true criminal in this case. This is the end for you, Detective. It's time to confess. Oh. Well, it appears that we've reached the end of this trial. That was kind of anticlimactic, but... And again, this is Ace Attorney Online, so don't have the... I don't know if we have the animation freedom that we do in something like Pyrite. Truth has been brought to light, and I'm ready to give my verdict. Has he confessed? What? What's this? Who's that? Who's that? What's this? What's that? Okay, you're still going, okay. That's far enough. What is it now? Well, seeing as we've come this far, I think it's about time that I confess. Confess? I don't like where this is going. Listen up. I was in the evidence room on the day of the murder. I was there to steal that case file. My plan was simple. I'd bring some evidence to the records room for storage, and steal the file while I was in there. All I had to do then was sneak it past guard, and nobody would be any the wiser. I stashed it in my desk at the precinct so that nobody could find it. But here's the thing. I entered the records room at 1:30 in the afternoon. I didn't leave until about 1:55 p.m. Okay. Alright. Wait, 1:55? Victim didn't enter the room until 2 p.m. That's my point. Well, you stolen that file. That's how I knew about its contents. I left the room before the murder even occurred. What? If that's true, then why would you lie about leaving at 1:35? Dropping off some evidence doesn't take half an hour. I had some trouble finding the file, so I was in that room longer than I wanted to be. When I came out, God had already left his desk. But I knew that it looked suspicious if I said I was in the records room for that amount of time. Man, it feels good to get the truth off my chest. So you see, I wasn't in the room at the time of the murder. It was the defendant. She's the real killer. He's lying through his teeth, and yet I suppose what he's saying is entirely plausible. Mr. Wright, is there any way that we can prove he's lying? I don't know. None of the evidence we have really helps us. None of the evidence we have. That's it. Your Honor. Mr. Wright, what is it? There's one more piece of evidence that the court needs to examine. You have more evidence to show, Mr. Wright? I don't have it with me, but it's the only thing the court hasn't seen yet. I just hope that gives us some kind of clue. The evidence that the court has not yet examined is the file.
Take that!
Now that he's confessed to where it's stored, a missing case file. The court has yet to examine this piece of evidence. We now know that the file was taken on the day of the murder. I suggest that it is brought here immediately. It may give us some new information. If it has blood on it, then that's going to be the real decisive damning piece. Detective, you said the file was hidden in your desk at the precinct, correct? No, wait, you don't need to look at that. Confessed. There's no point. Please, we can talk about this. We're getting there. Okay. Bailiffs, send an investigation team to the precinct immediately. The file's gonna have blood on it, isn't it? Your Honor, the missing evidence has been found. Here we go. Please let there be some kind of clue. As when it's said, it's a murder case file labeled OG4. OG4? What's that supposed to mean? Must be the police sorting code for this murder case. So this evidence to the court immediately. Here it is, Your Honor. Yeah. What is this? This file is covered in blood. Blood? Blood! Blood! Forensics has already determined that this is the victim's blood. Well, there goes your story, buddy. This is it. The evidence that I've been looking for. Your Honor, this new evidence is proof of the defense's theory. The Fuzz was in the records room at the time of the murder. The detective claimed to have left the records room before the victim arrived, with the file in tow, taking this case file with him. If that were true, the victim's blood should not have found its way onto this evidence. That this blood was spilled onto the file when the victim was stabbed proves one thing. I mean, the way that is, that had to have been just fucking dropped into it. Detective, this file was at the crime scene at the time of the murder, and so were you. You are, without a doubt, the murderer of Victor Timothy. Oh, okay, here we go. Now it's the real deal. What? What the hell, man? I can't believe you do this to one only Charles Fuzz. What the hell do you think you are? It's the type of thing you do. It's the freaking serious. Yes! Okay, that was good. That was good. Well then, after that rather dramatic conclusion. So there was a reason that first one felt underwhelming, because he wasn't ready to give up yet. It seems that this trial has come to an end. Mr. Payne, what has happened to Detective Fuzz? Detective Fuzz is currently being escorted to the detention center. He'll be tried for Victor Timothy's murder at a later date. Very well. Today's trial has gone on for long enough. I'm not prepared to deliver my verdict. The court finds the defendant, Emma Skye, not guilty. Court is adjourned. Good shit. Congratulations, Emma. I told you it would all work out. Mr. Wright, thank you so much for everything. I owe this all to you. Oh, and Apollo, I guess. Oh, I see how it is. I'll just wait outside, shall I? Don't mention it, Emma. Grumpy boy. I must have been a little hard to deal with today. Maybe used to catch a criminal, but I'm no good at being tried as one. Sorry if I came across as a little hostile. Guess my nerves just got to me, you know? But I really do owe you one. For today. And for last time, too. Aw, shucks. Come on, Emma. You don't owe me anything. Besides, I'm still indebted to you for looking after Apollo 2 years ago. I'm still here, you know. I suppose I should go and patch things up with the chief. Hey, Emma, before you go. Something I want to ask you. Apollo! This is hardly the time or the place. Oh, God. Besides, you're too, energetic for my tastes. Oh, come on. Huh? Oh, no way. That is not what I meant. Something I wanted to ask you about the case. Then try to figure everything out? Almost, but there's still one detail that hasn't been explained. You know what I'm talking about, right, Mr. Wright? Detail of the case hasn't been explained. Well, obviously my attorney's badge. Is it you're talking about, Apollo? Huh? No. That's not what I meant. Missing OG4 case file. Right, we have to figure out why Fuzz would want to steal it. I was hoping you might know a bit about his motives, Emma. Sorry, I don't know much about Fuzz or that case. I'm not allowed to go anywhere near those files. Come to think, neither was Charles. Detective Fuzz, I mean. Whatever his reasons were, I'm sure they'll come out eventually. Yeah, you're right. It's probably not worth me worrying about. Oh, that's a cute sprite. What? Oh, that's a really cute sprite. What the heck? Mr. Wright, we should probably go find Athena and let her know how the trial went. Hell yeah, Athena time. That's right. She and Trucy should be at the office by now. Well, take care, you two. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other soon enough. You too, Emma. Be looking forward to working with you again. And so ends another trial. That may seem like a simple case now. None of us could have known of the dark secrets that were lurking in the shadows. This was a case with a tragic past behind it. A past that would come to haunt all of us in the near future. Route recovery. Oh, credits time. Sprite Pervasion, Dragon Trainer, Lynn, Acidal, Mercuria ISK, Got Milk, 7. This was a really... I was gonna say... It's nice to be back on the simple mystery. Ah, Emma. See you in the second case. Oh? What? Uh-oh. Oh no. What is going on? What is this? Arrested? What do you mean by arrested? Murder? I see. Contact the lawyer. I want him out as soon as possible. He's going to explain exactly what's going on to me in person. If that imbecile detective is working against me, I'd much rather deal with him myself. Oh boy. That's another... This song is also from, the GameCube Pokemon games. Yeah, this feels like
We're just gonna jam out to this song. It's been... Honestly, I've never actually played those games myself, but I feel like this song sounds similar enough to... This song's gotta be from that game, too. This beat here, that comes across as... that's gotta be related to the Mirror B, Team Cypher, that old GameCube Pokemon series. This is also a very... this is also a good jam. Oh, that was very much a case one across the board. And it's nice to be playing... to take a break from mind-melding locked room mysteries and heartbreaking, tragic alternate universes, to just have a nice, simple mystery to solve. The nice thing about it is that there's a full... I think there's a full 5 cases to this. 4 main cases and 1 extra case. So this is a fully developed story by Gizmological. I was gonna say, we had very, 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 very charming characters. Very good writing. Mysteries were simple, but made perfect sense in how it progressed. For a case 1, I'd say that's pretty good. Very solid case 1. Charles was very fun to voice. Very... I love his design, too. Jeez. That's a really charming design. It's absolutely a pompous jerk detective fellow. But, man, that was fun. Have some happy miracle did happen post Dual Destinies. Write Anything Agency. Lawyering adventures. And more Athena, too. We will, in fact, see you in the next case. Until then.